Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi. I'm going to talk today for some experiment that I did with my students. So when we ask students to produce language, that's going to be such a hard effort that we push them to do it. So when we ask students, for example, to write something, they're going to come with scratches. They're not going to come with anything that is going to be properly. And frankly, I spoke with some of my friends just teaching Arabic, and he told me, you are in a good position. You've never ever seen what they produce in Arabic, so you are on a good side. So I thought maybe I'm on a good side. So I kept asking myself why my students are not producing language so well. They are not able to write either 1 or 2, 3, 4 lines properly. I thought maybe they should break the ice between them and the language. So one day I've been invited to a conference in Riyadh and also later on New York that is sponsored by the Teachers College with Columbia University. And that conference was talking about how to improve writing and reading within students. That conference was talking about how to make students start by generating ideas, and they will start writing from these ideas. Then later on they will edit this writing and they will print it, and finally they will publish it and share it with others. So I kept asking myself, how can I start generating ideas with my students? One day I came in front of my students and I told them, guys, I'm going to give you an offer which you cannot refuse. No, I'm sorry, that was Vito Corleone, not me. So, I was talking with my students and I kept telling them that I will start by motivating you by keeping myself as an example. So, I'm going to generate an idea about a story about myself. So I draw something and I told my students, I'm going to put just names or things in this picture. Then later on, I'm going to collect all these words and put it in sentences. So I came up with a story that is for me. Students wanted to speak, they wanted to write, they want to do something in English, but they can't because they don't like it. And one of the research that came recently talked about brain will work in a second if it likes something. So I spoke with my students and I kept telling them that if you want to say something, if you want to write something, you have to say it about something that you like. One of my students had a problem with his heart. And he was always going to the hospital with his dad and he became an absent a lot. And I kept asking him, Nader, why don't you explain this story for your friends? And I was asking myself, well, that's a good idea. How can I start? Then he started by drawing himself, and the doctor is checking him, and he kept telling me this story. Finally, Nader came up with 4 to 6 pages written in English and full story about himself. This is a magnificent thing. I came up with a final results that we should push students. We should let them keep going, keep writing. No matter what they commit of mistakes, that doesn't matter. They will commit mistakes, they will do a lot of mistakes, but let's not judge them. Okay? Because they're still students and they wanted to speak about things that they like it. So, when they start writing, we have to motivate them. We have to create passion. We have to create enthusiastic within those students. How? By telling them that you are writing or speaking about something that you seriously like. So, keep going. This is the first. Later on, you should focus on what you are doing and share it with others. That is how you create enthusiastic. And this is the thing that we should do with our students. By creating enthusiastic, which will make students like what they do. Thank you so much, Dylan.